Hi, welcome to another episode of the Out of Office Club. Thank you again for listening. Um, on this podcast, I talk all about digital nomad life, solo traveling. So if that's something you like, then definitely keep listening. And for anyone who's back again this week, thank you so much, first and foremost. Um, what I want to focus on today is this feeling or experience that I think a lot of people have, and I've also experienced when I came back from a big trip. Because going solo traveling or going away for a long time is super exciting, but coming back can be a bit strange and can be quite an adjustment. So that's what I want to talk about today. First, a little bit of an update. Last week, so much happened. So many things happened. And first, I need to thank everyone who's been listening to my podcast for this, plus everyone who's been following me on social media. Everything's been happening really fast and also growing. And it's been so much fun. And because of that, and because of also your support, your feedback, liking my posts, giving comments, messaging me, following me, and listening to my podcast, that's also what made it all happen. So I'm really grateful for that. And basically, last week, I got um, the opportunity to go to Greece in September. Um, it is kind of a collaboration. So my stay is for free because they like kind of my message and the platform that I've built, however small it still is. It's not paid and I have to book my own flights, but I really like what they're doing. It's a co-living in Greece. I'm going to share more on that this week. And I'm super excited for it because, one, I love Greece. I absolutely love Greece. I've been a couple times already and it's so much fun. It's a co-living, which I also really enjoy. I think co-livings, especially for digital nomads, are just a really nice mix of everything. You do get your people, you do get your community, you get to work, um, meet other people that kind of do the same thing but in their own way. So it's also just inspiring, and then it's also in Greece, so I really cannot complain. And I also um, just booked a short trip to Poland. This is with Worldpackers. You might have heard of them before. It's also the company I collaborated with on my trip to Portugal. But I booked with them a trip, or with not really with them, but on their platform. One of their kind of hosts on the platform has a language school in the middle of Poland, and they teach English. So I applied. I actually just finished a phone call with them because they wanted to make sure that my Dutch accent wasn't too harsh and too present, which I completely understand because if you've heard Dutch people speak English who don't try and hide their accent, it's not nice to hear. It's not an easy thing to listen to. So completely understood that. And of course, verify that my English is good enough to be able to teach it in some way. So that is next week. Next weekend, I'm going to leave for that. Probably, if everything, of course, goes all right. But I assume it would because I just got confirmation for that. So yeah, just I think a lot has happened in the last month, and I've gotten a bit more comfortable. I think maybe also recording my podcast, and I know a bit better what I want to do with it. Still enjoy it a lot, and something that again I wanted to talk about today is the experience that I myself, but I know also other people have when they go on a long trip and then come back home. Because it can be very strange. My first long trip was 6, 7 months. Um, I was 18. It was my first solo trip. I'd never been away from home for that long. I absolutely loved it, as you know. I keep talking about it. So, absolutely loved it. But coming home was very strange. And you can't really prepare yourself for it as much. And some people find it a lot easier and some people a bit harder. For me it was okay. I just came back, went straight back to work, and then I think a couple of weeks later went back to my studies. So um but I think what I found tough is that you just had this really big, I would say almost life-changing experience of a couple weeks or months, however long you traveled. And especially the longer you stay away, I think the worse this is. And then you come back and you've learned so much about yourself, about the world, about, what you do and don't like, how you want to live, just a lot. I'm not saying you find yourself when you travel, because I don't believe in this. I think you just understand more of yourself and of the world. You don't find yourself. I hate when people say that. But then you come back and it's almost scary to see how little other people or other things have changed. Um, you experience so much and you come back, and it's almost as if all of that was, I don't want to say fake, but it's like a different life almost. Because as soon as you come back, most of your friends will be the same, your family will be the same, the environment will be the same. Not much has changed, even though you've just had this really big experience. And that is a very strange thing to go through, because when I came back, I think it took 2 days for me when I came back from New Zealand to start working again. And I worked in hospitality in the moment. I didn't have a jet lag, so that helped. But I think it was 2 days, and I was back in my old rhythm with the same people, doing the same things. Um, and that is strange, because you've done so much and it almost feels like you dreamed it all. I don't know. And another thing that I've noticed that can be difficult, especially if you went by yourself, is that the people back home, even if you've kept them updated through something like Polar Steps or on your social media or just through calling, they'll never really understand or know what you experienced. So they also don't really know what to ask. Someone went to a concert of an artist that you can ask exactly, oh, how was the location? Did you go to the stadium? What songs did they play? How was it? How was the atmosphere? But if someone goes to a country that you know little of, they haven't been to, it becomes a lot harder to ask kind of not even the right questions, but to really specifically ask how that was and what you experienced. And it's also tough to tell it all. You've done so much. So where do you even start? Um, my dad, even I think 1 or 2 years after that trip, at some point said to me, "Oh yeah, it's funny because sometimes you say things about that trip still that I didn't know, because something, I don't know, like made that memory come up, or you suddenly remember, I don't know, whatever it is, because it is so hard to tell everything, especially to people who weren't there, who do not know what you experienced. And that, I mean, that's also, I think a bit of a downside to traveling online. You don't have, or on your own, sorry. You don't have anyone to share it with. And then when you come back, you also don't always have the right moments to share everything and to really talk about it in depth with someone. Plus the fact that you just go so quickly back into old routines, old patterns, and that is, I think, something that you either like or you don't like. My life back in the Netherlands then was fine and it worked for me and I was okay. But I also know people that are maybe running away a bit from someone or something, I should say, which I don't recommend. But just know that if you are running away from something back home, um, well, one, you can't run away from yourself. You will still be there on that trip. And if it's more like the situation that you're running away from, when you come back, that will still be there. People don't change much, if ever, and especially not if they have been in that same bubble that they lived in before, then they're not going to be different. And it is very hard to yourself to be different or to act different if you go back to the same place or situation that you were in before. But yeah, it just feels like everything that you've just experienced was a dream, and it's very hard to really share that with someone from back home who weren't there. Something that actually I think my friends gave to me then when I came back. They had a little gift for me, which I really appreciated, and it were these little cards that had questions on them that was specifically for people who traveled a lot, so that they could kind of pick a card and then share something. Because, like I said, people who didn't travel there or at all or as much often just don't know really what to ask you. And these cards then had the questions on them, which was quite fun. So we did that a little bit. But yeah, I think that's something that maybe is good to know, that it will feel a little bit, or it could also feel a little bit isolating, even to not be able to share that with someone and to feel like you've experienced this much and now it's gone, even though it's not. Definitely is not. But it's just different. And when you do come back home, you'll probably see and realize what does and doesn't work for you there, and how you want it different, and maybe what you want different as well. But it's not always easy. Of course, you're going to miss the experiences that you've had, the way you felt while traveling. I think that was a big one for me. And yeah, just seeing how little changed back home. In 6 months of traveling, you experience more than most people do in years if they stay back home. And not because they're doing anything wrong or because of just different choices in life, I guess. But you just experience more, you see more, you do more, you meet more people. And you can't have that if you live in one place, at least unless you very actively go out a lot. But I don't know anyone who does. So yeah, I think that's the rough part about coming home. And I can guarantee you that, especially if you had a good trip, you'll come home and immediately start thinking about, okay, where do I go next? What do I do now? Where am I going to travel to next? Because that's what I did. I came back from 7 months of traveling, landed back in the Netherlands, immediately, like I said, went back into old routines and patterns. I just started working in the same restaurants, same hotel I started working at. I did the same things, saw the same friends, went back to the same study that I'd kind of paused before I went on that trip. And it didn't take long before I was like, this actually isn't what I want to do anymore. I do not like working in these restaurant and hotels because they also keep me so fixed in this location. Plus, not all of my bosses were very nice. My colleagues were always really nice, but the bosses not so much. Plus, I don't know if you've ever worked in hospitality, but it is hard work, ridiculous. And I didn't actually like my studies. I realized how much I dreaded going to school every day, going to uni. So that only took, I think, another 4 or 5 months, and then I quit. And of course, I immediately started thinking, okay, where do I go next? This was too much fun. I want to do this again. So I started. I did. I did still work in those restaurants and hotels for a year or so I could save money, because I could work a lot there. It was busy, and I got a lot of hours. So I did work a lot. Quit school at some point, worked even more. And a year later, I went on another trip, and this time to South America. And then after I did that trip, which was 3 or 4 months, I also switched from studies. So I think that is something that traveling on my own then gave me a bit more clarity about what I wanted to do and what I definitely didn't like. And maybe a bit of the courage to then also go through with it and see what is working and what is not working in my life and fix it. But yeah, coming home is just a strange experience. I can't really compare it to anyone else. I don't know, or anything else. I don't know if you have I don't know, experienced this and how you would describe it or what you've noticed after coming back. Because I'd love to know what you think about going on a long trip and then coming back. Also, if I'm not very articulate today or I sound a little bit off because I already have misspoken about 100 times, that is because I only slept a couple hours last night because I went out for drinks in The Hague, which was really fun. For anyone who follows me on social media, you probably also saw it on social media, so you know exactly what day and time I'm filming this. But yeah, before actually, first couple times I recorded a podcast, I did 4 on the same day, and then just over the month posted them. And I thought, this is great. I'm going to do this. Just schedule 1 day a month, record on my podcast. But I've also quickly learned that just doesn't really work because I like to keep you guys updated on my life and how it's going, my plans, and I can't do that if I schedule it beforehand. Like sometimes I'm gonna have to do it, but I'd rather record every week. I mean, it's fun. But yeah, I today I'm a little bit more tired than I thought. I came home at like 2:30. I was like, this is perfect time. This is great. I can still sleep a good 6-7 hours. I just didn't anticipate that I wouldn't be actually asleep till about 5, and then I woke up at 8. But yeah, as you also saw maybe on my posts, is that I don't really drink alcohol anymore. So that is at least one plus. That I'm not hungover. I'm just a bit tired. Plus, my voice I think sounds a bit weird because so many people were smoking. I also don't smoke. So many people were smoking. Not a fan. So yeah, but I still hope that you enjoyed this podcast again. Like I said in my last podcast, I'm going to try and make each a bit more personal, although I do still find that I think a bit tough, and I find it a bit easier to just talk about what an experience was like and then my tips, which I think I've done again now, so it's not going well with my new plan. But, I'm learning, growing. And like I said, I've got some really, really cool plans, I think, for the next month and a half with a short trip to Poland, teaching English as well. Like that, I think is so much fun. I've never done it because I have applied, but of course I'm not native. So as soon as I apply, I'm kind of on the bottom of the list because regardless of how good my English is, or at least I think it is, I'm not native and I'll always have an accent. I'm sure while you're listening to this, you've already picked up on a couple words that sound a little bit more Dutch than they should. But now I actually do get the opportunity to go and have my first little bit of English teaching experience. It's more conversational, so a bit easier. Like I don't have to teach much about grammar because I don't know if I could. And then Greece, which I'm super excited for. So yeah, definitely follow along because I'll tell you all about how those experiences were as well. Like, what is it like to do kind of this work exchange, and tell you what again a co-living is like. And because each one is different, location's different, how they're organized is different, whether you have a community manager or not, while the owners are there or not, how involved they are. Every co-living is very, very different. Keep in mind, I've only done one, but even that was quite an experience. In a month, so much happened, good and bad, and it was weird, but it was really fun, and I met amazing people. So I'm really curious to see how the co-living in Greece is going to be. So yeah, just wherever you're watching or listening this, give me a follow. I really appreciate it. Also a rating if you can. Amazing. And then I hope to see you again next week. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you have a great week. And I'll keep you updated on all my other random travel plans and updates and whatever it is. But anyway, thank you so much for listening. Bye bye.